That's what, dude. When you can breathe, P, I'll grab the.
What's that?
When you breathe, I can start getting the wireless.
What's going on, guys? Good, how are you? I'm Mike. Jim, nice to meet you.
Oh.
Danny, nice to meet you.
Do you, fellas,
Oh, he's not here yet?
do you have your card? Okay, got that down. Last week I was like trying to like write down referees' fucking names. I'm getting from Charlie Muzikowski.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Test 1.
Jump here.
And we welcome you into Thursday Night Football from Austin Field. It is the Chandler Wolves, record of 1-0, taking on Mountain Ridge. The Mountain Lions coming into town with new head coach Andy Johnson looking to spoil the show. Last week, the Wolves opened at home, handing gritty Cesar Chavez a road loss, a hard-fought game for Coach Rick Garrison and his crew as they learn a little bit about themselves offensively and defensively. Now they take on a Mountain Lions team that comes off a road win at Tolleson, 28-0 for Chandler High. Senior tailback Tristan Helana was amazing, leading the way with 170 yards. We caught up with him today before today's kickoff. For $1.70, I'm kind of disappointed. I thought you were going to get $2.15. Talk about that great performance and running behind that phenomenal offensive line.
Yeah. You know, I could have rushed for more, but I expect the rest of my team, you know, I respect them. I had a lot of confidence coming out into last Thursday, and, you know, it was just trusting my line, my QB, and to get things done.
You know, for you personally, you've had to kind of wait your turn here. And look, when you come to Chandler, that's the case in so many positions. Look at the great running backs over the course of time. TJ Green, Drake Anderson, Khalil Valentine, and all those other ones out there. I forgot your names. I apologize. But, of course, they're great, too. But for you to have to wait behind and wait your turn, what's that like when you come to a program like Chandler? No, there might be some waiting to finally get your opportunity.
Yeah. When it first happens, you know, you're a little frustrated. People have the thoughts of transferring, but I wanted to stick it out because I know what I could put to this team, and I just had to wait for my opportunity to show what I can do.
You know, last week we saw kind of a glimpse of how good this offense could be. Give us kind of your thoughts of, we just saw maybe just a little bit of an appetizer, but give us kind of the full spectrum of what this offense is capable
of. We have a very great team. We're very athletic. You know, we have so many weapons that we haven't even unleashed yet. And it's just a matter of, like, you know, building up to what we can do very early in the season, have the nerves out. And as we progress more, the team's going to bond more. We get stronger, we get smarter, and we just play fast.
Okay, so the Mountain Lions are in town today. They won their opener against Tolleson 28-0. Last year, you manhandled them at their place 49-7. So obviously, look, those memories don't go away. They remember that quite clear. Your thoughts on taking on the Mountain Lions and try to do what's necessary to get another W?
I'm as well today very confident in what I can do today. I'm not scared. I'm very physical, ready to attack anything that comes my way, face adversity, and I'm just ready to run hard today.
Before I let you go, great medallion. Looks like it might be your father or some kind of role model in your life. Who is that in the center of your medallion?
Yeah, this is my grandfather. He had passed away not too long ago, and you know everything I do for him. Last Thursday, this was for him. So towards the rest of the season, everything's for him.
And his name?
Tony.
There you go, Tony. Rest in peace. Your grandson out there, he's battling hard for you and looking up to put up some big numbers every single game. Now, Helana could be in for another big game as last week Mountain Ridge gave up 240 yards rushing to Tolleson. Now, in the week 1 win, Carter Ooa, well, he stepped up, caught a touchdown, 45-yard strike. Ochoa leads this receiving corps that's got a lot of skill and talent. We caught up with Carter before the kickoff. Here with standout wide receiver Carter Ooa. And Carter, first off, week 1, you kind of grinded through that one. Was that a nice little early season test of adversity for this team?
Yeah, I think so. It was definitely a wake-up call. I mean, we got started off on the wrong foot, didn't come out firing. We kind of just thought we could walk out here and do what we want. But, I mean, it's a good learning lesson for week 1, and glad that it came now rather than later. 71
yards receiving, the big 45-yard touchdown strike. Give us your thoughts on that play. You ran that route, boom, perfect pass from Dominic, and all of a sudden 6 are on the board.
It actually wasn't the route. I was supposed to have a comeback, but my DB got tied up with the receiver next to me, and me and Dom had a look, and we both know I wasn't stopping. So perfect ball and a walk-in touchdown.
Yeah, walk-in touchdown on this brand new turf, state of the art. One of the first Chandler schools to get the brand new turf, part of the school district plan. And your thoughts on playing on this new turf? It's getting some water now, but soon enough you guys will be mashing it in just a matter of hours.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. Rather than grass, I mean, everyone feels faster, lighter on the turf. I mean, water in it right now just to make it a little bit cooler, but yeah, it's great to have.
So give me the sense, the first game's in the books. Give me kind of the team focus as the team maybe after that week one has kind of a little bit more of an understanding that everyone's going to come out at you and give you 150% and then some.
Yeah, the coaches explained it best. Great teams make their biggest jump from week 1 to week 2. So I think we all took that with a chip on our shoulder. We came into practice, had a great week of practice, and I think this week will be a lot different than last week.
Mountain Ridge comes in. They knocked off Tolleson at their place on the road 28-0 last week. Of course, you handled them last year at their place 49-7. You know they want payback. Your thoughts of trying to avoid yet another upset by a hungry team, trying to ruin the day here at Austin Field?
Yeah, we try not to look in too much last year. This is a new year. We got new people, clean slate. I mean, last week is behind us. We're just going to come into this week hungry and ready to go.
Carter Ooa, smooth, calm, level-headed. Now, behind every great football team is an outstanding band, and the Wolves have one right here on campus that provides such energy for the fans. I'm here with senior drum major A.J. Kowalski. And A.J., what is it like for you and the band to be part of the football experience and provide so much fun for the fans out here?
Oh, it's amazing. Every time out here we play our music and everyone's ecstatic. It's fun energy and we provide so much to this football game every time we're out here.
And you do, because football, it provides the pageantry, the elegance, the sound, the environment, just adds that extra dimension that football fans love. And along the way, a lot of people don't realize you guys just don't show up.
Right.
How many hours a week are you guys practicing, working on your routine, so when you come out here, everything's on point?
Right, we have rehearsal almost about maybe 3 times a week, each around 3 hours. It's a lot of work and effort just to put on our show and practicing our stand tunes and everything we do out here. You know, every time we're out here, it's focused on our rehearsals, and every hour and every minute we put into our rehearsals shows out here on the field.
You know, being a musician, definitely being part of the band, it's like being part of a football team. Everybody's got to be in the right situation. Everyone's got to make that right cut to transition, to segue into a certain musical beat. How hard is it to perform so many different numbers and to have so many different moving parts in the course to make everything sound correct?
Well, it's difficult, but with enough practice like we do and the hours we put in, it's nothing for us. We put in our hours, we put in our work, and everything we do comes out flawlessly to the best of our ability. And that's what I love about the band, is that no matter how much time we get, how much work we do it efficiently and effectively, and everything comes out.
For you, you're essentially the captain, right? You're running the show. How cool is that to lead a bunch of musically inspired young men and women to go out there and kill it every Friday night?
Right. I never thought I would be here. I went, I did an audition, and now I'm here. I'm like the drum major, I'm the captain of the ship, like you said. So it's very surreal for me, because I never thought I would be here. And every time I'm doing my thing, I feel it in me, and I feel it across all the other people out there, that they really enjoy me up there. And yeah.
A.J. Kowalski. Him and the band, they're going to absolutely crush it at halftime. A.J., thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
That's A.J. Kowalski. Before we let him go, we talked to Rick Garrison, the head coach of the Wolves, before tonight's matchup against Mountain Ridge. Coach, week one, a little bit of a battle test for this team. Went through some adversity, but you came out on top. What did you learn from your team after a very gritty performance against a very determined Cesar Chavez team?
Just what I thought we were, young, inexperienced, fortunately able to move and put things behind us and get some things done. Way too many penalties, a little bit lack of discipline on special teams, and ultimately they're coming back and coming on through. So
yeah, bottom line, you get the W, Coach. But let's take some positives. Of course, with every victory, there is, of course, some things you write down that have to be cleaned up. But there were some positives as well. What'd you see?
On defense, I thought our D-line played pretty darn well. We had pressure on the quarterback. and was able to get things moving there. On offense, Tristan ran for about 170 yards. We finished the game the way that you want to finish it, but the penalties and Chad Carpenter doesn't have too many good plays for 3rd and 48s and things like that. So it gets to be a little bit tough on that. But all in all, the kids stuck together. That was a much better Cesar Chavez team than it was last year, by all means. And they did a good job and coming ready to play. And we learned and hopefully make a jump today.
Yeah, Coach Carpenter, of course, dialing up a 3rd and 48 wonderful play is always tough. But look, Coach, when you had to have it. When you had to have a championship drive late in the game, you guys stuck it down, combination of great 3rd down plays. Laudermill came up with a big reception. Of course, we saw Tristan run like a champ, and the big boys up front led the way.
Well, it was nice. We did have 2 stops on 2-point conversions. We did block a PAT, right out the gate. And like you say, anytime you go, I think it was a 78-yard march to go ahead and finish the job, and pretty much running the football with 1 play-action pass on a big 3rd down, and Davion had a great job, did a great thing on that, as well as getting rid of the ball with Dom. So, all in all, learning and on to week 2.
It's all about learning, Coach, and obviously the coaching staff, you probably gave the young men maybe a little bit of a thorough explanation that when you put that Chandler High jersey, look, everyone's going to come at you full throttle. What was kind of the message to let them know, look, when you're the favorite, this is the kind of effort you're going to get from the opposing team every single week?
Well, the message was we practiced Saturday, so that was originally not going to happen. But they understood, came out, had 2 good days of Monday and Tuesday of work, had a good walkthrough yesterday, so they're ramped up and ready to go for tonight.
Mountain Ridge, they opened the season at Tolleson with a 28-0 win. Their quarterback, Lucas Ballman, accounted for 4 touchdowns. Obviously, they remember what happened last year. You went into their house and won 49-7 handedly. Completely new coaching staff led by Andy Johnson, former standout at Greenway High. Your thoughts the rematch here? And, of course, another team going to come in and trying to ruin the party here at Austin Field.
Andy's a good coach. You could tell they're way more structured, I think, this year than they were last year. Of course, he's got his Saguaro roots, so he knows what it takes to be champions and things of that nature. So, yeah, we're going to line it up, tee it up, and see who can control the line of scrimmage and take her from there.
Coach, best of luck.
Thank you.
So football is more than just football. We talked to A.J. Kowalski, the band. Now we're talking to Parker and Ella of the Palm Squad. Ladies, good evening. What is it like for you to be out here and be part of the football experience for Chandler High?
Yeah, it's really amazing. We get to hype up the crowd as well as watching the amazing football game. And we have an amazing student section right in front of us, and it's just so much fun.
Parker, for you, Ella gave us kind of a bit of a flavor. How much time and effort in the course of a week do you guys work on your cheers and your routines? Because it's not just you show up on game day and it comes natural. There's a lot of work involved.
Yeah, so it's actually a lot more work than you expect. We're there like 7 a.m. every morning, and then we have after-school practice every day for like an hour. So we've also, the past few weeks, have had choreo all weekend long for like 9 hours. So it's a lot of work, and we also have competitions outside of this.
So you talk about the competitions with the Palm Squad. Where's the next one going to be, and how do you feel like the unit's going to come together? Because like any team, there's time and effort that has to build cohesion and some chemistry to ultimately become a successful group.
Right. I think our next competition is in December. Our first competition will be in December. I'm not sure what high school it is yet, but it's the USA Regional, and then we have a couple of showcases before that to practice.
And Ella, that being said, how much time and effort along the way to get ready for those competitions? Because look, you're going to be facing some stiff competition around the country, and how much effort and care and coordination and dedication along the way is it going to take from the group to ultimately go there and be one of the best, not just in the state, but in the country?
Yeah, it's a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication, I will say. The rest of the girls on our teams are super committed, and it's just amazing to go to competitions with each one of them. And we go to nationals every year in Los Angeles, California, and it's so much fun to bond with the rest of the girls.
Yeah, and let me ask you, because we've seen it, like when you compete against other teams from other parts of the country, is it friendly, or is it kind of like what we see on TV where it could be like bitty and kind of, a little bit chippy?
A lot of both.
A lot of both, yeah. A lot of the teams are super sweet. During our football games, we go and talk to the other teams from other schools, and we get to see them at competitions, so it's a lot of fun.
But ultimately, it's all about Chandler High one way or another.
Yes.
That is Parker and Ella, part of the prom squad, bringing the cheer, the beauty, the style, the charisma to the football game. Appreciate you, ladies. Thank you for your time. That's going to wrap it up for the pregame show. We'll have the intro in just a moment. Keep it locked and loaded. More to come from Austin Field.
In the end zone once as well. Carter Ooa was the main beneficiary of the strong work of the Chandler QB duo, catching 6 balls for 71 yards and a touchdown. On defense, Aiden Browder led the Wolves with 9 tackles, and Xavier Senior chipped in 2 sacks. The Mountain Lions, led by head coach Andy Johnson, got their season off on the right foot with a 28-0 win over Tolleson last week. Quarterback Lucas Bauman threw for 2 touchdowns and almost 200 yards, while also adding 2 touchdowns on the ground as part of a balanced running attack featuring 4 different players getting at least 4 carries. Senior Vince Norfolk only caught 3 passes, but with a whopping 33-yard average, he led all Lions with 103 yards through the air. On defense, the Lions shutout was paced by 15 tackles for loss as a team, with 3 coming from junior Cash Bressier. Combined with more than enough to make sure that
the Chandler High football team avoided the Week 1 home upset, getting past gritty Cesar Chavez. Tonight, they look to avoid yet another home upset as they take on Mountain Ridge. Good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Pequeno. So glad you can join us from Austin Field right here on the Chandler High Sports Network. For Coach Rick Garrison and his team, they showed flashes of how good they can be. Senior Tristan Helana behind a great offensive line rushed for 170 yards. The quarterback duel situation between Dominic Carmigiano and Will Menzel combined for 2 touchdowns, and the defense led by linebacker Aiden Browder with 11 tackles, 1 sack, and Xavier Senior on that offensive line, actually on that defensive line, was fantastic with 2 sacks. Now, tonight they take on a Mountain Ridge team that is coming off a 28-0 victory on the road against Tolleson. Lucas Ballman accounted for 4 touchdowns, and the defense, led by defensive lineman Cash Reiser with 7 tackles, pitched the 28-0 shutout. Last year, Chandler went on the road and handed the Mountain Lions a 49-7 beatdown. This year, Andy Johnson, the new head coach of the Mountain Lions, well, they're looking for payback right here at Austin Field. We'll have the starting lineups and more coming from Chandler High right off Arizona Avenue right here on the Chandler High Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise as the Chandler High School Air Force Junior ROTC proudly presents our national colors. Tonight's color guard commanders are Cadet Jordan Ricks, Cadet Rosa Neary, Cadet Diana Farfan, Cadet Harrison Rutherford, Cadet Antonio Fuentes, and Cadet Andrew May.
Helana iced it with a touchdown, part of his $170 night. And now that offensive unit, which put up almost 400 yards of offense, takes aim at a Mountain Ridge defense that gave up 240 yards rushing last week in the 28-0 victory at Tolleson. Chandler has received, and they will be accepting the football. This one into the end zone, and Skylar Ormita. And the Wolves will start at their own 25-yard line. And when we talk about Chandler, they're still rotating two quarterbacks. Dominic Carmigiano as well as Will Menzel. Menzel in his debut, the sophomore, 11 for 11, 113 yards. Also rushed for 31 yards and a touchdown. Carmigiano had a good outing as well. Threw the football with authority, 4 of 6 for 64 yards and 1 touchdown. And Menzel gets the start for the Chandler Wolves. The rushing game so solid last week. The team so effective on the ground, doing wonders with the amount of offensive work that they put together. And another great run. Carter Ochoa in the open field on the quick pass from Menzel. Last week, the offense, 386 yards, 209 on the ground, 177 through the air. One back set. Menzel, 2 wide receivers up top. Halsana gets his number called. Halsana, open field. Halsana will go the distance. And the senior off and running. And the Wolves howling early in this one. Halsana, open speed. A lightning bolt into the end zone. And talk about starting fast and putting the big boy pants on and setting the tone. Halsana, the house call, and the Wolves howling early. And we talk about this veteran offensive line, and you can't say enough about this group. The gentlemen that push the line, that make the noise, let's give them their credit. Logan Ray, Noah Swope, Isaiah Garcia, Quentin Real, Blake Spear, or Michael Cook as well. And just like that, and Christian Aguilar adds the extra point, and Chandler High, as we mentioned, which rushed for 209 yards in the opening win over the champions. They start fast and furiously. 3 plays, 75 yards. Halsana, the house call. And it's an early 7-0 Chandler lead. And talk about exactly what the Wolves wanted. To start fast offensively, set the tone on home turf. Last year, Chandler at Austin Field, a record of 4-2 on Arizona Avenue with losses to Centennial, and of course the home loss in the open playoffs to Highland. And trust me, that last one still lives in the nightmares of Chandler Nation everywhere. So now it's Mountain Ridge going to work, a unit that started fast last week in the victory over Tolleson. Jumped out to a quick 14-0 lead. It's going to be Aguilar on the kickoff. Set to receive Urza Villasenior as well as Jake Borman. 2 players with speed and agility and some wiggle in the open field. Aguilar knocks this down. Taken inside the 5. Up the field, and the Chandler special teams unit going to work. Tackled inside the 20. So now this Chandler defense that still dusting off the rust. A lot of young faces still learning how to play the game. Going out there, and they're led by Aiden Brower. Aiden Browder, the star linebacker, led the team in tackles with 68 last year. Set the tone with 11 tackles and 1 sack in the win. Offensive starters, Lucas Ballman at quarterback. Running back is Vinny Norfolk. Norfolk, handoff. Norfolk can't turn the corner. Short pickup on the play. His wide receivers, Jake Borman, Tyler Dudiak, Ethan Lopez, his tight end, Ethan Holly. Left tackle, 67, Eli Thompson. Left guard, Luca Odishu. His center is Wyatt Tollefson. Right guard, Jacob Odell. And right tackle, Timothy Huff. Chandler defensively. They've got big boys all over. Bauman moving to his left. Little dump off pass and met with authority. Good open field tackle, and Chandler bringing the goods defensively. Malik Johnson on the tackle. So it's going to be a 3rd down situation for Mountain Ridge. 3rd and 1. Chandler trying to lock up Bauman. Accounted for 4 touchdowns last week in the win over Tolleson. Threw a 70-yard strike to Norfolk in the first quarter and a keeper. All part of a 14-0 first frame. Bauman, quick pass on the outside, and that is dropped, and a flag is down, and we'll have to see how the referees sort it out. Bauman on the move, looking for his wide receiver, who just could not come up with the play, and Tyler Dudiak right through the fingers. And for Mountain Ridge and the Mountain Lions, led by head coach Andy Johnson, and it looks like that call is going to go against the Wolves, and that's going to give the Mountain Lions a 1st down out past the 40 to about the 43-yard line. So Chandler defensively makes the stand, but can't stay clean enough, avoiding the penalties. Bauman, shotgun. Finds a seam, runs it up, crosses out past the 48-yard line. Bauman saw a seam and took it upfield. Defensively, for this Chandler High defense, of course, Jamie Keyreese, defensive tackle, Jude Jones, Xavier Sr., who had such a outstanding game. And Keyreese was great last week with 9 tackles and half a sack. Bauman, time to throw, lets it rip, and right through the hands of the receiver, Jake Borman. So early on, Mountain Lions with some slippery fingers, and if they have any kind of aspirations of coming into Austin Field and pulling off a victory, their playmakers have got to show up and catch the football. 1 back in the backfield, 3rd and 5, and that is going to be a flag, and it's probably going to be a false start, and that's exactly what it is. So Andy Johnson taking over this team, a graduate of Greenway and part of the Saguaro coaching staff, and Coach Garrison had nothing but great things to say. The players had nothing but great things to say about the Mountain Lions and what they saw on tape. A hard-working group. They came out last week with a lot of energy and effort on the road at Tolleson, and that's what it takes to pull off a victory. Bauman, little dump off. Good open tackle, and once again, making noise, Malik Johnson does the work in the open field. Short gain on the play, and that's going to bring out the punting unit. So a good stop by the Chandler defense, and last week, Chandler, that young unit, was tested by Mason Penrod, the great receiving core of the champions. A learning moment, per se, for a team that every week has got an X on his chest, every week has to avoid an upset. So now it's Mountain Lions going to work in the punting formation. Shane Anderson, their punter, and back to receive is Skylar Ormita. Mountain Lions getting their personnel in order. Ormita had a chance to meet his father on campus this week. Want to say hi to the Hanas in Honolulu. If you're watching, we appreciate you. And, hey, it doesn't matter where you are in this country. If you bleed blue, you're part of the Chandler family, and you're always connected right here in Arizona Avenue. Ormita breaks a couple of tackles, some good work, and he crosses the 20, and Chandler will work inside their 25 for their second possession. The first possession, simply dynamic. 75 yards, 3 plays. Halsana, a 43-yard rip for the first score. And they go back to work. Ormita in that receiving group. Of course, Carter Ooa, Jaden Spahn, Halsana in the backfield, and we've talked immensely about that offensive line that is so good. Inside handoff, Halsana out past the 25 to about the 28-yard line. Once again, it's Menzel in this series. Ochoa, big possession in that first sequence. Tight formation. Menzel out of the shotgun. Ochoa. It's Halsana once again into the secondary. Halsana out past the 35 to about the 37, and will have the first down. Halsana, he's waited his turn. He talked about in the pregame how tough it is sometimes. You come here to Chandler, you've got all the skill, but you've got to wait your turn behind so many players, so many gifted athletes. But no question for him, he's felt it's been worth the wait. 170 yards in the opener, 43-yard touchdown in the opening sequence. No gain on the play brings up a 2nd and 10 from the 37. Passing formation for Chandler. Elias Gutierrez on the top of your screen. Menzel dumps it out, and Halsana out of his reach. So it'll bring up a 3rd down. Mountain Lions, part of the 6A Desert Valley. They went 3-7 last year, but if you look at their schedule, they did not hide. They lost to Highland, Chandler, Centennial. All 3 teams made the open playoffs. Other losses, Queen Creek, Williamsfield, Boulder Creek, and O'Connor, all playoff teams in 6A. So this team battle-tested and then some. 3rd and 10, Menzel, man in motion. Good snap, Menzel. Ormita in the open field. Ormita's got the first down. Ormita breaks it in the secondary, cuts it back. Ormita, what a pickup inside the 25-yard line. Skylar Ormita unleashed in the open field, and the Wolf running free for a huge pickup. Ormita, the talented young athlete from Honolulu, with the big pickup. Gain of 40 on the play. And they come right back and play power football. Another quality pickup for the Wolves. Halsana takes it down to the 16-yard line. A pickup of 7. Halsana, backfield, being fed early and often. Another handoff. They go to the senior. Halsana working his way. Halsana into the end zone. His 2nd touchdown of the night. This time a 16-yard rip. And the Wolves standing loud and proud. Thursday night football from Austin Field, and the masses are happy. 13-0 on a 16-yard scoring rip by the talented senior. The T-Train, his 2nd touchdown of the night. Christian Aguilar in for the point after. Aguilar, 4 for 4. Make that last week. He was 3 of 4 from point afters and nails that one, and it's a 14-0 lead for Chandler. So, couple drives, couple quick scores, and Halsana having an outstanding game. Already close to 80 yards rushing, and we're talking all this in the first 5 minutes plus in the first quarter. And if you're the Mountain Lions, you just got smacked in the face by a Floyd Mayweather haymaker. And now it's the Mountain Lions have got to pull themselves off the canvas and try to figure this one out. A team that lost to Chandler last year at home 49-7. A team that came out inspired last week of the win, but once again, we talked about this, they gave up 240 yards rushing to Tolleson. Halsana already has 80 with 2 rips. And now Aguilar will go back to work. Set to receive Urza Villasenor as well as Jake Borman. Aguilar lets this one rip. Taken inside the 10. Borman tries to turn the corner, and Borman is tracked down. That lightning speed by Chandler. Just a blaze of goodness. Jeremiah Flunder showing what he can do underneath the lights. So defensively, Chandler came up big on their first defensive possession. Now they go back to work. And Andy Johnson and his offensive unit. Lucas Bauman. His wide receivers, Borman, Dudiak, Lopez, his tight end, Ethan Hawley. Running back, Vinny Norfolk. And that offensive line, they've got to rise to the occasion against a Chandler defense that is looked at the tape from last week. And there is a flag down on the field, and that's going to push it forward just a tad against Chandler. So Mountain Ridge will start at its own 32-yard line, second possession as they go back to work. Lifetime Wolves are 4-0 against Mountain Ridge. We'll break it down here in just a second. Bauman, one back set, handoff, Norfolk, and Norfolk gets taken down at about the 35-yard line. So the defense coming fast and furiously. Brings up a 2nd and 6. Chandler defense last week tested, giving up 341 yards, 217 passing, another 124 on the ground. Bauman, quick pass, throws a strike, and that's some nifty running, but it's going to be just short of a first down. Good pitch and catch, Jake Borman, the senior, providing some leadership for the Mountain Lions. And they say that does grant a first down. Borman, 3 catches last week for 17 yards against Tolleson. Bauman out in the flat. And just lightning quick work. Great tackle by Chandler. Read perfectly and coming up like a bolt of lightning. Speed kills and providing it Scooby Bradley, the senior. 6 feet, $170. 2nd and 10 from the 43. Bauman, 2 wide receivers down below, 1 up top. Good snap, fires. Good pitch and catch. Good pickup by the Mountain Lions. Borman on the reception, and that's going to move the chains. And that offensive line unit of the Mountain Lions showing what they're capable of doing in pass blocking. Bauman getting some confidence as he looks at his coaching staff. Co-offensive coordinator Sam Keller. Now, if that name rings a bell, former quarterback at Arizona State back in the day. Bauman flips it out to his left-hand side, breaks a tackle, and running past the 30-yard line. Good pickup as the Mountain Lions, courtesy of Ethan Fernandez, are on the move. Mountain Ridge making some noise here in their second possession, trailing 14-0. Chandler, Aiden Browder leading that defensive unit right here in the middle. Number 5, 11 tackles last week, 1 sack. Talked about in the pregame how much he realizes this is his last year. He's going to bring everything and then some. Bauman, a little quick pass out to Norfolk, and Norfolk and Bauman, they connected on a big 70-yard touchdown reception in the first quarter in last week's win against Tolleson. It was just some great heads-up mobile movement by Bauman, found Norfolk on the sidelines. He did the rest. Handoff into the secondary. One man to beat. Still on his feet. Powerful run. Mountain Lions roaring, and Norfolk barreling inside the 10. Norfolk, kind of the all-purpose back. You can kind of consider him, that little speedster can do just about everything. Run between the tackles as well as catch the ball out of the backfield. Bauman, quick strike, and that is in and out of the hands of Tyler Dudiak. Dudiak, the senior, caught a couple passes last week in the win over Tolleson. The amazing thing about Mountain Ridge and Bauman, he spread the love around. 7 different receivers caught passes. 2 wide receivers up top, 1 down below. Handoff, and this time Norfolk runs into a wall. That is Chandler High. Loud and proud. Bringing the juice and then some. Gotta love that effort. Just bringing the physicality. Jamie Keyreese. Keyreese had a nice game last week in the win over the champions. 9 tackles, half a sack. He's got skill and will and brings it. 3 wide receivers up top, 1 back set, 1 receiver down below. Bauman loses the football and has to fall on it. A good snap, and Bauman just lost his concentration. But big reason why Keyreese was coming around that corner with the purpose, and he was about to add some physicality to Bauman's night. So it's going to bring up a field goal opportunity. In on the kick. Killian Morris. Morris up, and this one, referees are talking this one over. No signal just yet. And there's an offsides against the Wolves. So that'll tack on 5 yards forward. It'll still be 4th down and 9 from the 14. So Morris will get the other opportunity to knock this one through. His holder is Declan Berensa, a senior. Morris, good snap. This time, this one up and splits the uprights. Morris knocks it through. And Mountain Ridge is on the scoreboard. It's now a 14-3 game. They score on their second possession. And Bauman just showed how capable he is of a quarterback, hitting a lot of quick strikes, and their offensive line allowing him some time in the pocket to make some plays. Appreciate you dialing us up right here on the Chandler High Sports Network. Paulo Hutchison on the live stream. He brings you all the pictures, all the moments, all the memories. He's got more cameras than Nikon. Joe Pequeno on the call. We appreciate all the good people, from Jeff Cuomo and the band to Parker and Ella on the Pomp Squad, and all the great cheerleaders, fans, alumni out there. We also like to say a special thank you to one of the graduates who's watching this game from Georgia. Chris Blair graduated from Chandler High and still loves his Wolves. He watches every single game. He was part of the marching band under Bill Humber back in the day. And Chris Blair helped raise 2,000 drum pads for the band. And you can't say enough about that because those kids work so hard. As we talked to AJ Kowalski, the drum band leader, they put their hours, 3 hours a day to be part of the experience and provide some musical energy and fun to the crowd, and they do such a great job. So Chris Blair in Georgia, thank you so much. So it's the Wolves starting at their own 34. Halsana crosses the 35. Short pickup on the play. Mountain Ridge now needs to come up with a defensive stop. 2 possessions for the Wolves, 2 touchdowns. Halsana, a 43-yard rip and then a 16-yard touchdown. Dominic Carmigiano now in the game. 3 wide receivers up top, 2 down below. Ochoa in motion. Dominic, lightning delivery, and Skylar Ormita. Skylar having a big night. Crosses the 45, and that gets a first down for the Wolves. And that offensive line gave Carmigiano a perfect pocket to deliver a strike down the field. 1st and 10 from the 48. Halsana outside. Halsana on his feet, rambling down to the 45-yard line. Good pickup. Call it a gain of 7 on the play as time is winding down in this first quarter. And the Wolves offensively so on point. A 2nd and 3 from the 48. NFL season kicks off tonight. The Ravens at the Chiefs. Halsana going back to work. Outside, still on his feet. Kind of picking his way. Halsana still moving and grooving. Halsana, a tremendous pickup inside the 20. Looks like it was down to about the 15, but there is some laundry on the field, and the referees, they'll discuss. And that looks like it'll be against Chandler, and right now that's a point of concern, the amount of penalties. Your referees for tonight's game. Your ref is Bill Goodlive. Umpire, Lyman Breyer. Line judge, Mark Seidel. Linesman, Romulo Martinez. Back judge, Michael Barkier. Field judge, Jeff Vance. And your side judge, Tracy Hernandez. So the referees talking this one over. And it's going to be holding call against Mountain Ridge and a holding call against Chandler. Offsetting, so we'll do it all over again. So Halsana, who just shows his patience as a runner, the way he was able to see the tackles move and how the holes would open up, just broke it outside and gingerly moved down the sideline. So once again, we'll do it again with 31 seconds on the clock. A 2nd and 3 from the 45. Carmigiano. And now we've got the whistle to play ball. Dominic looking to do some damage late in the first. Rolling to his right. Carmigiano avoids the rush. Still on his feet. Carmigiano. And Carmigiano gets leveled on the sidelines. Wow, what a hit by Cody Halpine, the senior cornerback, and that brings out a flag. And that's a high hit as we take another look. Carmigiano avoided one rush, and Halpine, hello, and then launching, targeting against Mountain Ridge, and that's going to be a 15-yard penalty. Targeting penalty against the Mountain Lions. Of course, Andy Johnson, the head coach of Mountain Ridge, he wants his team to play hard, fast and physical, but you got to play within the rules. And that one, that was one of those shots upstairs that no coach, of course, no player wants to see ever committed on the field. So it's a 1st and 10 at the 31. 15 seconds left in this first quarter. 14-3 Wolves. Ormita in motion. Helana, no hesitation. Still on his feet. Works his way. Make that Lejander this time. Lejander getting some work. And finds the hole and doing some good work. And that is the end of the first quarter. Your Wolves, loud and proud, a 14-3 lead. More from Austin Field. Paulo Hutchison live stream. Joe Pequeno on the call. Thursday Night Football, underneath the lights, Austin Field. One destination, Arizona Avenue. We welcome you back to Austin Field, home of the Wolves, the School of Champions. Wolves with 6 state titles underneath their belt, taking on the Mountain Lions. Rematch of last year's 49-7 Wolves victory on the road at Mountain Ridge. Carmigiano up on his feet after taking that big-time shot, and Helana still up on his feet and doing work. Helana works his way down to the 10-yard line. And that's going to be another Chandler High first down. And Helana has rushed for 100 yards already in this one. And we kind of talked to him in the pregame. I jokingly said to him that I was disappointed he didn't rush for 200 yards in the opener. Well, the young man is on his way in this one, and then some. And Helana has his numbers called, takes it inside the 5, down to about the 2-yard line. So the young man is bringing the A-game, bringing the force, and bringing the physicality. The senior who's waited, and now he is the big hombre on campus, and he's delivering and then some. Helana, 3 wide receivers on the field. Ormita in the slot. Bottom of your screen. With the opportunity to do some damage, Jaden Spann. Now we go back to work, 2nd and 3 from the 4. Carmigiano. Helana, and rolls right in. His 3rd touchdown of the night. And the T-Train blowing steam. It's now a 20-3 Chandler High lead. Tristan Helana said to himself, 170 is just not good enough. No, Joe Pequeno. Pregame, you wanted more from me. Well, I'm bringing it. Already over 100 yards. Already 3 touchdowns. Big-time performance. And this Chandler High offense clicking. Aguilar on the extra point. Aguilar. Up. And this one is good. Aguilar. 2 for 2 on the night. Helana caps off yet another impressive Chandler drive. 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns. Last I checked, basic math, that's pretty good. That's why we go journalism, so we stay away from mathematics. Needs to say, Helana, and you can't do it, once again, this veteran offensive line unit. Logan Ray, number 57, the left tackle. Senior, 6'3", 260. Left guard, number 74, Noah Swope. Junior, 6'3", 285. Isaiah Garcia. Senior, 6'1", 285. Number 57, right guard, Quentin Real. Is that a football name, Quentin Real, or then some? Quentin Real, that's the kind of name of a football player that eats steel regularly and just loves to pound the protein and just goes after it. And then your right tackle, Blake Spear, Michael Cook getting work in. Just tremendous first 3 series by that dominant offensive line. So Aguilar and the special teams unit, which has been tremendous so far in this one. Colin Botell, the longtime coach, leading that unit. Aguilar lets that one rip, and that's going to go into the end zone. Talk about doing your job and then some. So it's going to be Mountain Ridge working the ball at their 25-yard line. Mountain Ridge put a field goal up last time, courtesy of Talion Morris. And now Lucas Bauman and that group in desperation mode, trailing by 18, and what they've got to do is work that ball down the field. Bauman coming out in passing formation. 3 wide receivers up top, 1 down below. Bauman, quick delivery, and this one is picked off. A house call, and going the other way, Scooby Bradley. Pick 6, and the route is on Arizona Avenue. Scooby Bradley read that like a champ and goes the distance. Call it a 16-yard pick 6. We'll take another look. Bradley. Well, we'll try to dial that up shortly as Aguilar comes out for the extra point attempt. So the defense has been successful on 3 of 4 stops. Scooby Bradley, we'll call it a 16-yard pick 6. Now 27-3 as Aguilar tries to add the point after. This one up, and this one is good. Aguilar, 4-4 on the night. And we have 10 minutes and 40 seconds left. We'll take another look right now. Bauman, quick release, and that one picked off, read by Bradley. A 23-yard pick 6, and the route is on. Just tremendous work by the defense. And Bauman was going for that first target, and he telegraphed that one, and Bradley read it like a champ and takes it the other way. So a Thursday night underneath the lights, and talk about the improvements by Chandler High in every single phase of their game. Offense, driving down, defensively, putting the clamps on Mountain Ridge. Special teams, fantastic. And no question, from week 1 to week 2, the improvements, the focus, and from Aiden Browder to Xavier Sr., leaders on that defense, to Carter Ooa, to Tristan Helana, they talked about how the team collectively understands that they're Chandler High, and when they play teams, everyone's going to give them their A game. They got that from the champions. They expect that tonight. And the Wolves have come out with a purpose, positivity, and productivity. This one, once again, and Christian Aguilar just putting on a show and really stepping up his game. not allowing the Mountain Ridge Lions to get anything going in the return game. So now it's the big thunderous Chandler defensive unit. And this is going to be kind of an opportunity for Coach Garrison with a 28-3 lead to really work his lineup and get some players in and some opportunities across the board. Seeing young players like Craig Noble, junior, 6'3", 225, about to get some work in. Big number 94, Sincere Preston, defensive tackle, junior, 6'1", 295. He's in the D-line rotation right now, and you love to see that. Chandler High taking care of business as the Mountain Lions get a handoff and take the ball outside the 25. And what Coach Garrison is doing right now, building quality depth, getting young men some action, getting them ready for some of the big-time physicality wars that are about to face this team when they take on the Highlands, the Liberties, the Hamiltons, the Bashes, and, of course, playoff times as well. Bauman, and that one's almost picked off in the secondary. Bauman right now has got a high motor, a quick trigger, and that was almost the second pick on the night. The opportunity was there, and Chase Rojas did the push-ups right afterwards because he knew he let that one slip through. Brings up a 3rd and 5 from the 25. 3 wide receivers on the field. Man in motion. Bauman, handoff, and that is going nowhere. The Chandler D-line stepping up in a big way. Big bodies bringing the big-time noise. Gotta love it. Jordan Taylor, as well as Yona Kupu, in on the tackle. So the Mountain Lions have got to punt it away, and Skylar Ormita is back to receive. Skylar from Honolulu saying hi to the Ohanas across the way. So glad they're tuning in from Hawaii. So glad to have them with us on every telecast. Skylar back to receive. This one, it's going to be short. Ormita coming in, takes the ball just about his 49-yard line and gets a little bit of a knock, and they're going to call a penalty on the hit by Mountain Ridge. And right now, everything possible could go wrong is for the Mountain Lions. So the referees, once again, your refs on the field, on the call. Referee Bill Goodlive, umpire Lyman Breyer, line judge Mark Seidel, linesman Romulo Martinez, back judge Michael Barkier, field judge Jeff Vance, and side judge Tracy Hernandez. So, personal foul call against the Mountain Lions is going to push the ball to the 42-yard line. So the Wolves that basically lived in Mountain Lions territory all night get excellent field position. Carmigiano going back to work. He's got a 5 wide receiver set. Dropping back, time to throw, a little flick down the field, and just an outstanding play by the Mountain Lions secondary. That was just a tremendous play on the ball. Can't say enough by Ethan Lopez. And Carmigiano's just got a nice touch and threaded that, and Lopez last second, because if he doesn't get a paw on it, it's going 42 yards for 6. And there's a penalty against Chandler, pushing them back. Penalty against the Wolves. Knocks them back all the way down to their 43-yard line. And if there's any kind of negatives from last week's game was the amount of penalties by Chandler, and they have to clean that up. They've got to be better, more disciplined. Helana already into the secondary, still on his feet. Helana out past the 50, down to about the 46-yard line. The T-Train blowing steam, and once again a good quality pickup. And Helana will take a breather. Once again, getting some work. That's not Helana, it's Anthony Lejander. Now Helana is back in. Apologize. Parmigiano, shotgun. This time it's Helana barreling forward. Short pickup on the play. Brings up a 3rd and 12 from the 47-yard line. Passing down situation. Carter Ochoa on the bottom of your screen. Ormita in the slot. Parmigiano takes a couple steps back, lets it fly. And over the head of Ormita, it's going to bring up a 4th down. Only the first time in this game that the Chandler offensive unit looks out of sync. So the punting unit will come in, and Carter Ochoa, who is such a gifted athlete, can do just about anything and everything on the field, will knock this one away. Set to receive for the Lions. Tyler Padamonski will lead that charge for the Mountain Lions on special teams, hoping for a good return. Ochoa, 8:24 left here in the second. And Ochoa knocks this one. Takes a good bounce. It takes a Chandler bounce, and unfortunately, the ball is into the end zone and will be a touchback. So the Mountain Lions will start at the 20-yard line. They haven't had much good field position. And right now it's up to Lucas Bauman, the quarterback for the Mountain Ridge Mountain Lions, to go through his progressions. He's locking in, making it very easy for Chandler to see what he's doing. Last time out, Scooby Bradley, the pick six, 23 yards. Handoff, and actually it's Bauman on the keeper. Had us all fooled. Little RPO, runs it out to the 35-yard line. Pick up a 15. Bauman had me and just about anyone watching biting on the handoff. Had the Wolves fooled as well. Bauman back in a shotgun. This time, handoff. And once again, going nowhere. The Chandler defense stepping up with a purpose. Sean Perez, the outside linebacker. And Sean, nice game last week. 3 tackles in the victory over the champions. A veteran on that defensive line unit. Part of that front 7 on the linebacking core with Aiden Browder. Brings up a 2nd and 11 from the 31. Bauman, time to throw. He's going to let it rip. Shooting deep. That one up in the air and knocked away last second. Good defense by Scooby Bradley. Bradley all over the place. The pick 6 and gets the big paw up, knocking it away. Denying Jake Borman on the big pass play. Wolves Nation wanting defense from their team. Defense last week gave up 217 yards passing, 124 yards rushing, 341 total. 3rd and 11 from the 31. Bauman under a big rush, rolling to his left. Bauman trying to buy some time, flicks it downfield, and that is incomplete. Long pass play, and Tyler Dudiak cannot come up with it. So Mountain Ridge forced to punt. Another great defensive stand by the Wolves. 5 possessions, only 3 points allowed by this Chandler defense. A unit that had to hear all week. Maybe they're too soft. Maybe they're not good enough after getting tested and pushed by the champions. And they've come out this week with authority. Ormita. And this one's going to be short, angled toward the sidelines. And Chandler once again with excellent field position. 6:56 left in the first half. Coming up at half, you're going to hear from the band. This group, the Wolfpack Marching Band. The band is under the direction of Jeff Cuomo. Visual staff head is Adam Kesselman. Percussion staff include Tyler Haley, Caitlin Pender, and Ben Hernandez. Color guard staff includes Genesis Engelhardt and Cassie Miranda. The design team includes drill writer Jeff Whipple and audio engineer J.J. Mixdorf. We'll have more from the band after this play. 1st and 10 from the 50-yard line. Helsana working the right side, turning the corner. Will Menzel back in at quarterback. Quality pickup on the play. Call it a gain of 4 on the play. Brings up a 2nd and 6. The band is being led to the field by senior drum major A.J. Kowalski. This year's show is entitled I Hope, and it features original music composed by Seth Woodard. And there is another penalty against the Wolves. The band would like to express its appreciation to the Chandler High School administration and the Chandler High School Band Booster for their continued support of the program. So this is about the only negative on the night for Chandler High is the penalties. They're racking them up, and it's just causing them to self-destruct. Now, when you think about this, you got to put this in perspective. They're up 28-3, but ultimately, now it's a penalty going the other way. When you play the big boys in the state, when you've got the matchups against Liberty, Basha, Hamilton, Highland, and then if you get into the open playoffs, which Chandler High has the ability and then some, Skyler breaks the tackle. Skyler still on his feet, out past the 50, down to about the 47-yard line. Skyler, the flying Hawaiian on the end around, working it well. So for Rick Garrison and his team, they understand they've got to play cleaner. They've got to not self-destruct with bad penalties. Menzel. And that time, Helsana's gobbled up. Might have lost a yard on the play. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 8 from the 48. Lejander came rushing in. Helsana gets the breather. Lejander with the 23-yard touchdown reception last week. And the Wolves bringing in their passing personnel. Jaden Spann and Elias Gutierrez looking to do some damage on the edges. Shotgun, Menzel lets it rip down the field. He's got a receiver, and pitch and catch, and going the distance for the touchdown. Call it a 48-yard rip, Carter Ooa. Loud and proud, Thursday night, pleasing Wolves Nation. And it's now 34-3 Chandler High. One more look. Ochoa all alone, gliding in, his 2nd touchdown of the season. And Menzel with the nice touchdown, sizzling throw down the field. Aguilar up, and that is good. And Aguilar just working on his video game extra point kicking in this one. Now a perfect 5 for 5. And Menzel, long touchdown pass. Ochoa had 71 yards receiving, including the 45-yard strike from Carmigiano in the opener, and now a long rip from Will Menzel. 35-3. Coming up at the half, we'll hear from defensive and offensive line and special teams coach Colin Botell, who does everything. And joining me in the second half, a name that resonates throughout Chandler High football, and that is the one and only tailback extraordinaire. I'm building this up, TJ Green. Coaches the freshman running backs, and he'll be joining us, talking some Chandler High football. NFL football right now is the Chiefs leading the Ravens 20-10 with 3:37 left in the third. Rashee Rice doing damage, 6 receptions, 95 yards. Kickoff. Special teams work by Chandler. Doing things and making things happen. Get your opportunity, gotta deliver. Austin Reese, sophomore, 5'11". He's a running back who'll have to wait his turn. Showing what he can do for Coach Bottrell and the special teams unit. So now it's Mountain Ridge, and Mountain Ridge hit by a tsunami. That is Chandler High. Hit by power, speed, finesse, you name it. And they're picking themselves up off the turf. Bauman played sparingly last year in the 49-7 loss. And what can you say about that tackle by Scooby Bradley? Scooby, where are you? Coming up big on the tackle. He's got a pick 6. And showing he can lay the lumber on ball carriers in the open field. 2nd and 13 from the 18. Bauman just flicks it out in the flat. Chandler coming up and laying the lumber. A combo platter of defense, and Aiden Browder, hello, the former lumberjack, cutting down some wood. And Browder had a good conversation with the young man before the game, and he realizes this is his last go-around for Chandler High. He's only got so many games left, and he says, I'm going to lay it all out there. And I'm going to wear that jersey with pride. I'm going to set the example. And game 1 against the champions, 11 tackles, 1 sack. Tonight, all over the field, providing some big-time excitement, big-time leadership, and some big-time physicality for his defensive unit. So it's going to bring up a 3rd and long for the Mountain Lions. Have scored on only 1 of 5 possessions. Handoff. They try to work the double reverse. It's on the turf, and that's Bauman who finally picks it up and gets rocked inside the 5-yard line. And just a disaster for the Mountain Lions. And it'll bring up a 4th down and forever, and the Wolves are going to have great field position. Once again, that defensive unit have held the Mountain Lions scoreless on 5 of 6 first half possessions. So Colin Botell, his defensive line, has brought the physicality. The unit really bringing the all-out effort. They've had a week to look at the tape. They've had a week to figure some things out. They've had to listen to some people say, you know, maybe you're just not good this year. And, you know, the thing about Chandler High is that this program has waves of good players waiting their turn, ready to get their opportunities to shine. A program that's won 6 titles and a team that's hungry. This squad hasn't won a title since 2020, winning the Open title back in that time, and they are anxious to show that the Open goes through Arizona Avenue, and especially on home turf. This was a team that lost 2 games at home last year to Centennial, and then in the Open playoffs to Highland. And talk about that being your last memory. To think about your season ended right here on Arizona Avenue. Painful memories for this team, and now they enter this new season with a lot of new faces on the defense, a lot of question marks offensively, and they're proving a lot of people wrong early in the season. Ormita back at his 35-yard line. Punter at the back line of the end zone. Wolves setting up for the return. They bring pressure, and Ormita will take it at his 33-yard line. So the Wolves basically knocking on the door with 4:04 left in this first half. Wolves have scored on 5 of 6 offensive possessions. We'll take a short timeout. More from Austin Field right here on the Chandler High Sports Network. First down from the 32-yard line. Will Menzel back in. Carter Ooa at the bottom of your screen. He's already caught a touchdown. This could be the night. Paulo Hutchinson is running the live stream where a bunch of Wolves get involved in the scoring column. Menzel, man in motion. Up the gut and powering his way, Helana. And a late flag coming in. And the Chandler coaching staff right to my left, livid about seeing yet another flag being thrown. Referees talking this one over. And they're going to wave it off, much to the delight of the Wolves Nation, as Helana busts his way for a quality pickup. It's going to be a 2nd and 3. Helana right in the backfield with Menzel. Helana it's going deep, and Menzel to the corner, and they rule it out of bounds. The deep toss down the field to Jaden Spann, and just out of bounds. Menzel faked the handoff to Helana. Fire deep, the offensive line protection outstanding. Good opportunity to take a deep rip with a 2nd and short. Now it brings up a 3rd and 3 from the 26-yard line. Menzel, Helana will take it. Helana into the secondary. Helana barreling on his feet still inside the 5. Helana, the T-train, blowing steam. And the Wolves knocking on the door yet again. First down inside the 5. What a run by Tristan Helana. He'll step off. Menzel. Empty backfield. This could be a RPO keeper situation. Menzel calls his own number. Menzel up the gut, and Menzel is in. The super sophomore living large on Arizona Avenue. And break out the fireworks. The route is on. 41-3. Chad Carpenter, the OC of the Wolves, just calling up plays like he's running Xbox on the lounger at home. Menzel doing things. 4-yard pickup, 4-yard scamper. Aguilar. Oh, and Aguilar adds to the beauty of the night. He's now 6 for 6 on point afters. 42-3. Now, coming up at halftime, we'll have a conversation with O-line and D-line and special teams coach Colin Botell. We'll see the tail end of the band led by Jeff Cuomo, and once again, a special shout out to Chris Blair, part of the alumni group of the Chandler High Band, who lives in Georgia. Also joining me, TJ Green. The Wolves' great running back will join us in the second half and talk about his days of playing for the football team and all the great memories, and now a coach on the freshman team, coaching running backs. And when we look at that team, as we dial up the flux capacitor and go back to 2016, TJ Green, the numbers are just ridiculous. 2,267 yards, averaging 9 yards a carry, 35 touchdowns. Yeah, I would say that's pretty good. Just an incredible year for the young man and that team that went on to win state, knocking off Mountain Point in the finals, 36-17, and then they beat Valdosta in that national televised game, 44-24. And you're talking about glory, and that kind of started that tremendous run. It was all part of that tremendous run of Chandler High winning those 6 titles, and TJ Green will join us. But we still have 3 minutes and 8 seconds left. Chandler High up 42-3. Mountain Lions shell-shocked. And Andy Johnson, who saw his team come out last week and with a great performance against Tolleson, now trying to find some positives. So it's the offense back on the field. Bauman, one back in the backfield. Dropping back and going through his progressions, moving to his left. Bauman directing traffic, and he'll just throw this one away. Heavy pursuit by that Chandler defense. They'll attack you so many different ways, and one of my favorites making some noise, and Jamie Keyreese. Jamie, a junior, 6'1", 280. He's always bringing the lumber. He's always chasing down players. So this defensive unit has allowed only one scoring drive on 6 previous Mountain Lions possessions. Handoff, turning the corner. Oh, that is what you call pursuit with a capital P. Aiden Browder, the captain, and he wears that captain jersey with pride. Browder, young man on his way to NAU, setting the tone for this Chandler team. A team that went 8-3 last year, 4 points away from potentially being undefeated. A team that had to break in a new quarterback this year, a new running back, and here they are in great position. So lifetime, the Wolves are 4-0 against Mountain Ridge. 2004, they won 27-13. Quarterback Johnson, nice game, 12-14, 148 yards with a pair of touchdowns. Ricky Moore had 11 tackles in that one. 2016, Chandler, Mountain Ridge, 59-0. TJ Green rushed for 153 yards and 4 scores. Kendon Walker with 7 tackles in that one. Matthew Koizol and Josh Rogers added interceptions. 2017, Chandler rolls 59-20. Tailback Drake Anderson. Monster day. 222 yards, 4 touchdowns. Brian Jackson, 7 tackles. Tyler Kimball with an interception. Zach Bowers, Adam Morris, Dietrich Gamage, and Giovanni Manley each had sacks. Then in 2023, 49-7, Khalil Valentine, buck 23 on the ground, 3 scores. Anthony Legander added 43 yards on 10 carries. Keaton Anderson, a touchdown pass from Blake Heffron. Jeremiah Young, 6 tackles, and Aiden Brower with 5 tackles. JoJo Taylor with an interception, and oh, by the way, Jeremiah Young also had 2 sacks. 3rd and 9 from the 21. Chandler High bringing the pressure, and Mountain Ridge blinked, and that's going to add another 5 yards. And all of a sudden, Mountain Ridge, that had so much poise. I had a chance to catch them last week on the road at Tolleson. They came out with a purpose and a passion and energy and a focus, but it's a different level of football when you're taking on the Wolves and the skill and speed factor. And this one, Bauman wrecked in the pocket. Tremendous effort by the Wolves, and Aiden Browder doing it yet again. Living large, a beast off Arizona Avenue. The moon is out, and the beast that is Browder, and the fangs just terrorizing Bauman on the sack. What an effort by Aiden Browder, blitzing and just dropping Bauman. And that leaves 2 minutes and 22 seconds left in the first half. And right now, if you're Chandler, you're Chad Carpenter, you're Coach Garrison, kind of look at your personnel. If there's something you're kind of dialing up in that playbook you've been working on, or maybe you want to give a young man some opportunities to get some work in this one, this is the perfect chance to do just that. NFL right now, Chiefs in a battle against Baltimore, 20-17 in the fourth. Rasheed Rice, 7 receptions for 103 yards. That was one of my 4th, 5th round picks. And coming up big, punting formation for Mountain Ridge. Ormida's back, and Ormida will call for the fair catch and take it at about the 49-yard line. Excellent field position for the Wolves. Short timeout. Wolves howling, 42-3. 2 and change left in the first half. First and 10 from the 44. Carmigiano. Quick 3-step drop. Carter Ochoa. Ochoa will just take on the whole Mountain Ridge secondary. Carter Ochoa putting his big boy pants on and says, I'll just take you all on myself. Mercy. What a physical display. A Deebo Samuel kind of physicality, just taking on the whole secondary. Nice pickup. First and 10 from the 18. Carmigiano lets it rip. Over the middle. He's got Ormida for the touchdown. What a pitch. What a catch. And Carmigiano lightning fast. And Skylar, aloha in Honolulu to the Ohanas there, making his family proud across the world. 18-yard rip, 48-3. And just a dart by Carmigiano. Beautiful pitch and catch. Aguilar going to work. Aguilar perfect on the night. And let's make it one more. 7 for 7. Christian Aguilar. He's getting the high five. He's getting the love. It's all about perfection for Chandler High. And there's still $1:57 left. It's the half of greatness for the Chandler offense, and we've seen it. Carmigiano, just a nice pass play down the field. Just a beautiful rip. Menzel, the deep pass to Ochoa for the touchdown. Bradley, the pick six, 23 yards. Halsana, 43-yard scoring rip. Halsana on the 4-yard run. Menzel on the keeper. My goodness. All kinds of fireworks off Arizona Avenue. This is the kind of game that all of a sudden teams around the state are like, the scoreboard gets people's attention. Of course, Coach Garrison now in his 6th year. He's been with the program for 15 years. His assistant, the icon, Eric Richardson, assistant head coach, has run that legendary track program here, Arizona Avenue. Offense coordinator, Chad Carpenter. Played at Washington State, played for the Cardinals. Defensive coordinator, Ryan DeRocher. And right now, they've all dialed it up so well. Aguilar will let it rip. Aguilar, this time, a little on the shorter side. Picked up by Borman. Borman still on his feet, and finally he runs into a sea of black jerseys. Of course, Chandler and the black home jerseys. They got the white pants on tonight. Mountain Ridge and the visiting white. And in with wearing their black jerseys, they're wearing their white big boy pants on. And they have put on a big boy pants performance tonight. And the defense going back to work. Getting some opportunities. Craig Noble once again. See if we can dial you in some of the youngsters getting some work. Jalen Robinson on that defensive line, as well as number 99, that is, Kate Franco. Bauman. And right now it's Norfolk trying to turn the corner as time is winding down in this first half. And for the Mountain Lions, they just want this nightmare to end. In the secondary, well, your linebacking core is still Browder, Sean Perez, and Yona Kupu. We'll talk about the safeties and corners just a second. Bauman will just throw it away, tries to flick it and hope for the best. Demir Regan, junior cornerback, getting some work, as well as A.J. Roca back there. Other side of the field, Ja'Cory Johnson, junior cornerback, and that is it at the half, 49-3. Just a dominating performance by this Chandler High team, and the defense has been spectacular. And coaching that defensive line and the offensive line and the special teams is Colin Botell. And Botell, a long-time fixture on this campus, and we had a chance to catch up with one of the special coaches here on Arizona Avenue.
So, Coach, I think about your time when you
came on this campus. 2011, it's kind of a transitional period. Coach Ewan was on the way out. You came in with Sean Aguano, and then all of a sudden, this team really starts taking off. I want to get your thoughts of when you first came aboard, what all of a sudden started to trigger with this team that all of a sudden the light bulb came on in Arizona Avenue and this team became a force?
Yeah, when I was coaching at Desert Vista in the early 2000s, and then I transitioned to Basho with Tim McBurney, and then Sean got hired. Sean hired me here. So what Sean did was create a culture change, and the culture change being Ohana and Makoa, and everybody bought into that. Community bought in, all the coaches bought in, the players bought in, and it was special to see it just develop and become stronger and stronger and stronger every year.
And Coach, you kind of talk about that, and to go a little deeper into it, are we talking about love, family, unity? Give us kind of the deeper meaning of those terms for people outside this fan base that might not be too familiar but have heard all about the special meanings here in Chandler.
When Coach Grana brought that in from the Polynesian culture of Ohana, and he preached that always, family, family, family. We're to support each other, we're to love each other, we're to correct each other, but we're also to be held each other accountable, but do it with love. He always said, I love you guys, I love you guys, I love the players, I love the coaches, everybody'd hug, and it was just a strong culture that was unbreakable.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a little LOVE. And that being said, talk about the love and championship glory here. 6 titles in the course of your run here, and so many great memories and so many great players and so many great performances, not just here, but across the state, that has made Chandler one, if not the best program in the state.
I owe it all to Coach Aguano and Coach Garrison and the way they've maintained the culture here. And we just do everything for our kids to get better, right? Everything's about the kids in this program. It's not about the coaches. It's not about the parents. It's about the kids in the community. And it's just been so special. I mean, if you would have told me when I was, just starting as a high school football coach in 2000 here in Arizona, you would have said, you know what, you're going to wind up with 6 rings. I honestly wouldn't have believed you, because some of my mentors, my coaches that have been in it 20, 30 years, and they had 2 rings. And for me to have 6 with these coaches, it's unbelievable.
But Coach, there's a problem here because you got 4 more fingers.
You're right. I guess I always said, you know what, maybe wanting 7 this year is selfish, but I guess that's okay.
For you personally and for this team, you've got so much double duty and traction, O-line, D-line, special teams. You're everywhere. It's nonstop. What is it like to be able to handle both sides of the trenches where we know the game is ultimately won, but then also to regulate the special teams that set the tone early in ball games?
And it's fun because I get to work with such a diverse group of kids. In the O-line with the tight ends, coaching the tight ends, they have to be multiple personalities. They have to be a skill player, but they have to be one of the big uglies and be able to put their hand on the ground and get dirty. So that's been a lot of fun. And then coaching the receivers and the special teams, and then I get to work with kickers, and I get to work with punters, and I get to work with the defense on punt return. So it's a lot of fun because I get to build relationships with everybody, just not one position group.
So many great athletes that step on this campus, but along the way, you're working with so many different kind of players in so many different areas. Who is the hardest unit to work with, the D-line, O-line, or the special teams group?
I think the offensive line is very difficult in what they have to do because they have to be really smart. D-line is kind of more reactionary. Kind of special team, it's more of a reaction. But offensive line, those kids have to be dialed in and to multiple changes on the defensive front. And we really work hard so they understand what they're doing, what they're facing, and how to get their job done. And when they get their job done and we have an 80-yard drive, I just love picking up all those kids and just, saying, hey, you guys are the unheralded, you guys are the core of this team. And as you guys go, we go.
Yeah, and you kind of talk about that group, so many veterans on that offensive line. it leads to Halsana rushing for $170.
Yeah.
But what about those guys when that game mattered last week and you needed a championship offensive line performance? The big boys brought the big noise. They dialed it up, and you drove it down for the game-winning touchdown.
They did, and that's what we said. We joked about it. We said, okay, we have 6 minutes left in the ball game. This is a 4-minute drive that's going to be 6 minutes long, and we're going to predominantly run the ball, and we're going to run it right at them, and they know we're going to run it, and they can't stop us. So we're really proud of them.
Can you see yourself doing anything else in the fall than being with Chandler High, coaching, being a part of this program?
Even though today it's probably 110, it'll be 112 tomorrow, but it's a dry. But even though we have to suffer in silence out here in the heat, there's still, when the Thursday night lights or the Friday night lights come on, it's special. It's so special. It's no place you'd rather be.
There you go, Coach B. He's bringing the LOVE and, of course, some toughness along the way. So the second half about to get underway. So glad you can join us right back here at Austin Field. A dominating first half performance by the Chandler High Wolves, leading 49-3. You name it, they did that in the first half, getting excellent physical play from their offensive line. And Helana led the charge with 2 quick early rushing touchdowns. Scooby Bradley with a pick 6. Menzel with the long touchdown pass to Carter Ooa. And then it was Carmigiano on the touchdown pass to Skylar Ormita. Now I am proud and privileged to bring in one of the legends. And when I talk about legends of Chandler High football, a man that has dominated this football field on multiple occasions, I am bringing in the one and only TJ Green.
How you doing? How you doing?
TJ, so good to have you with us. And look, I want to get your thoughts on this first half as Borman tries to break it outside and give Mountain Ridge some positivity, and he does that with the excellent return, and that gives Mountain Ridge something to be excited about in the second half. Finally is right. So your thoughts about what you've seen from this team after an opener where they got pushed by Cesar Chavez, but grinded through and got the win.
So after that, I think they took a lot of reflecting, looking in the mirror and seeing what they needed to improve on. I don't think it was a bad game. It was just the first game. So, you know, with the first game, there's going to be a lot of mistakes, you know, a lot of penalties. But I think the team, it wasn't a bad game. It just was the first game. So that's what I'm going to say. I don't think it was a bad game. They brushed up on all the little things that they needed to brush up on, and they're coming out here with a little better pep in their step and a little better game plan than they did last week. And I think they're just going to keep stacking and growing on that.
And TJ, you know, as we look at tonight's performance, it all starts with that offensive line and Tristan Helana. And I had a chance to talk to Tristan, who's now in his senior year, and he talked about, look, when you come to Chandler High, you're just not anointed the position. You've got to wait your turn, and you've got to pay your dues, and then your opportunity eventually comes. And he's waited his turn, and now rushed for 170 yards in the opener, over 100 yards in the first half, a couple scores. Your thoughts of your time at Chandler High and how you had to wait, and then finally when you got your opportunity, and we'll talk about the numbers you put up your senior year, were just ridiculous, but your thoughts of kind of the learning curve that players, when they come to Arizona Avenue, what they have to expect.
Yeah, I mean, this is a bit different era than I came up in. I mean, I played my dues freshman year, I played freshman, sophomore year, I played JV. I think I got moved up the end of my sophomore year to playoffs, and that was 2014. That was the year we won state. That was the first state championship, but in a long time. But I just think everybody just has to trust the process, you know. There's not a lot of that happening nowadays. They just think like, oh, just because they don't have the spot now, they have to leave or transfer. The grass is greener on the other side, but it's not always like that. And I think this program shows that you got to trust the process and stay down until you come up. And that's what I did, and it ended up being pretty successful for me. So
yeah, we'll talk about your ridiculous video game-like numbers your senior year, but Helana, who's waited, such a well-spoken young man, $1 million smile, so charismatic and just so charming and very genuine. He talked about waiting, and now he's thankful for that opportunity and showing what he can do already with, you know, close to 300 yards rushing through 2 games. And your thoughts of what you've seen from him in his senior year?
He's a good kid. I mean, I haven't had too much time with him from what I've seen so far. He's a downhill runner. He runs behind his pads, and he makes plays. You know, last week he was really the one that was making most of the plays for the offense. And like I said, they didn't have a bad game. Like I said, having 175 on the ground by yourself that's a great game as a running back, and that just doesn't come easy. So he had flashes, and I think the offense is just going to run through him. You know, he carries a load well, and he gets downhill, and I think they're going to lean on him a lot this year.
Offense gets a penalty, moves it out to the 49-yard line. Well, they'll run a play, and once again, Chandler High on the move as they work the right side on the handoff. So let's take us back. Let's go back in a flux capacitor. Let's go back in time without Marty McFly and Doc Brown. Let's go back to 2016. TJ Green rushes for 2,200 yards, 2,267 yards, 9 yards per carry, 151 yards a game, 12 100-yard games, 35 touchdowns. And TJ, I'm disappointed that you didn't get 40.
Man, me too. Me too.
Talk about that incredible year. I mean,
man,
how good, when you reflect, have you had time to soak in that year and be like, man, I was just off the charts good?
It kind of just went by so fast. I mean, we had a great team. We had a lot of playmakers that year. We had Gunner, Johnny Johnson. We had Ryan Johnson, who would come in at the slot or running back. He was really fast, make plays, and but it all just went by so fast. I don't really think I had time to like reflect on it. But like now looking back, those numbers are pretty. I didn't even look at them like that, but now it's pretty crazy to look at.
And TJ, when you get a chance to look at him now and you reflect, because it doesn't matter. I think as an athlete, and you're one of the best competitors and one of the most well-spoken athletes on this campus in your time on campus, I don't think the numbers would have mattered if you didn't win the gold ball.
Right.
And was that the case for that team that was so gifted? I mean, look, the expectations was to ultimately make sure that when it was all said and done, that this team was walking off with no equal. And so regardless of the numbers, with the numbers, you had to have the gold ball.
Right.
Am I correct on that?
Yeah, it was only right. I mean, if I had that type of season and didn't finish the state champion, it really wouldn't have meant anything. I mean, to finish it like that, it meant the world. We had a great team. We had set out to be state champions early, and we had that goal, and we took a couple early losses in the season. We went to California. We had a nail biter with Corona Centennial that kind of brought us back to reality, and then we came back. We took a bad L to Mount Point. Like, that was probably one of the most embarrassing games I had ever been a part of, and even playing in. Like, I've never gotten beat that bad ever in my football career, even playing youth ball. So it was just that kind of set us back, and then we made a lot of changes after that game, and then since then, or after that game, we just kind of were on a high streak, and nobody could really mess with us.
Yeah, you lost that game 52-7, but they were coached by Norris Vaughn, the great Norris Vaughn, back in the day, and that was when Mountain Point, they were in the conversation every year. But redemption is a sweet thing.
Exactly.
And you got them in the state title game, and you beat them 36-17. So how great was that to finally get redemption from a team that sandpapered you earlier, and all of a sudden, when it was all said and done, you were the last man and the best team standing that day.
Right. So after that game, we went about our year. The rest of the year, we whooped on Hamilton, had to, and then we just stayed the course. You know, we just went 1-0 every week, and we knew once the playoff bracket came out and they were on the opposite side that we would probably see them again in the championship game, and they thought that they had our number because they had kind of put a beating on us earlier that season, but our game plan worked, and we were able to make plays and hold the gold ball up after that game. So I was very proud of that team, man. We had overcome a whole bunch of injuries that year and stuff like that, and to end it off like that, and then to go playing Texas against Valdosta was another good experience. But that season was very long. It felt like an NFL season. It was real long. So that's probably why my stats look like that, because we had such a long season. But
no, TJ, let me interrupt you. Your stats were like that because you were just ridiculously good. Okay. I got to give you credit where credit's due. So yeah, that game ended with the game on national TV. You beat Valdosta 44-24 right now on the field. Carmigiano and the Wolves are on the move. 3 wide receiver set. Handoff, and this one is powering inside and walking into the end zone on the spin move and then some.
Yes, sir.
Creative juice, creative scoring, and once again, electric on the moves and just powerful running and the great effort on the handoff, courtesy of Ja'Cory Johnson on the touchdown run. And just an electric performance on that play, and now the scoreboard. We have a running clock right now. It's 55-3, so it is a running clock. It'll stop for extra points, but the clock will stop right after.
Looks familiar.
Yeah, it looks familiar.
Yeah.
So that being said, so now you are etched in the legendary performances here at Chandler High, and now you're giving back. You're a coach on the freshman team. Of course, you're coaching your skill set, which is running backs. What are you trying to implement, and what do you try to tell this next generation, which might be a little bit more difficult? A lot more kids are on their phones and maybe too much into social media and sometimes forgetting that hard work and effort is what it takes. What are you trying to implement, not just on the skill? We know what you're teaching those young men, the cuts and finding the plays and finding the holes and knowing the X's and what they're going to face in the O's, but the intangibles of wearing that Chandler High jersey and the discipline and the accountability that comes with that.
Right. So I think we have a very good staff on the freshman level. We have our head coach Jawan, he played here with me in 2000. He graduated in 2014, and he asked me to become the running backs coach, and I was like, I think it would be a great opportunity to give back, come back to old school, and just get back to winning. So once I got the opportunity, I was like, I'd love to come coach. And, we have a great group of kids down there that work hard, and they come to work and they show up every day. And we get the most out of them. I mean, we work them very hard, and we believe that they have a high ceiling. So we have a standard, and they live up to that standard. So I just wanted to come back and get back to the way things used to be, just the hard work and not taking shortcuts and just giving everything you got every day and continuing to grow and being able to make mistakes. I mean, mistakes are how you become a better player, how you become a better person. You have to learn from your mistakes. It's just that I tell them, don't make the same mistake too many times, because then that means you're not learning from your mistakes if you keep making the same mistakes. So I just try to pour into them. I give them my all every day, and I love what I do, and I never expected to be as a coach over here, but now being here, I love what I do. So
okay, so TJ, I'm curious, as you're giving some love to some fans down there in the crowd, and of course they know who TJ Green is. So do you ever get from some of the kids like, hey, coach, man, I checked out your stats, or I checked out your man, you could play back in the day.
Funny story. So we had our first game yesterday, right? And so fifth hour is where our freshman football hour. So their time they get in the gym and stuff like that. So on game days they have a pretty chill day. They don't really do too much. So they went in the team room and they were able to watch anybody's highlights. So they put my highlights on, and I wasn't here. So once I got here, they're like, Coach, we watched your highlights before the game and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, yeah. They're like, yeah, you were a speedster, stuff like that. So I'm like, that puts a smile on my face, knowing that they're able to look at my old highlights and stuff like that and get ready for the game and stuff. It's real cool.
But, TJ, look, inside, did you say, yeah, I was a baller back in the day?
Yes, sir.
So give us kind of your thoughts on the mindset of this team coming in, because you're only as good as your last game, you're only as good as your last season, and that Chandler High defensive line bringing the pressure, and once again they've terrorized Mountain Ridge all night long, and Jalen Robertson in on the sack. But coming into this season, this team a record of 8-3, losing 2 games last year at home, which is almost unheard of. Losing to Centennial, losing to Highland in the open playoffs. You got some teams in max preps that are getting more love. You got teams that are predicted higher than them. And look, everyone's a preseason prognosticator, but coming into the season and talking to some of the players, what was your sense about this team coming in and their focus and their attitude and realizing something's not right and we got to redirect?
Right. So we knew that last year, ending 8-3, that would be a good season for a lot of teams. But here at Chandler High, that's not the standard, and losing first round of playoffs has also never been the standard here. So we knew that we had to make a couple changes, and nowadays, and you have everybody's transferring and stuff like that. So it's just like we have to work with the kids who want to grow. If the kids they want to leave, whatever they want to do, explore their options, it is what it is at this point. But the kids that stay here and they want to trust the process and grow here, those are the guys that we're going to trust between the white lines.
Yeah, it's almost amazing that you would hear that someone would want to transfer from Chandler High.
Right.
I mean, last I checked, the coaching staff, one of the best in the state.
Definitely.
And the players that have come out of this program only just taste success and victory and go on and play college football in all kinds of locations across the country. And not to mention, this is a coaching staff. It's not just about building great football players. They're building great people as well.
Exactly. And that's what we preach, like being a great person on and off the field. Like character guys, make sure you're staying on top of grades and stuff like that. And I think now that I'm on campus, I'm able to pop in on those kids in class. So I sub now. I sub in the Chandler Unified School District. So I'm on campus and I'm able to interact with our guys in class and pop in and make sure they're doing and they're staying on top of their work and stuff like that. And I think that's a big thing, When I was here, Coach Iguano made that a big thing to pop in our classes to scare fear into us, so we knew we had to act right and get our grades correct because we have to do everything right. And so I think that's another reason why I'm here. I came to just get back to the old culture of preaching that we have to be great guys on and off the field, and we have to do everything right. And you always got eyes on you because you go to Chandler with the C on your chest, so you have to wear that with pride. And also on the field, it's like you got a target on your back because everybody wants to play and beat Chandler.
And you kind of talk about the architect in Sean Iguano, who started something special. When Sean Iguano took over this program, what did he bring that all of a sudden galvanized this team? Because the athletes have always been here. They have always been here.
Yeah.
And there have been years where you looked on paper, you're like, this team lose in the first round?
Right.
You're like, how did this happen, right?
Exactly.
And you're questioning it. Outside run and into the end zone for the touchdown. Legender on the run.
Wait.
And it looks like there's a flag down on the field, and the referees will have a discussion, and the Chandler assistant coaches right to our left are, needs to say, they're on cloud 9 of being angry and then some.
Right.
So needs to say,
a lot of highs and lows over here
highs and lows of football. And by the way, NFL score to pass along, it's the Chiefs winning the opening night game against the Ravens 27-20. A rematch of the AFC, one of the playoff games from last year, and Ravens defense just not good enough on the road. And at some point, if you're going to beat the King, you got to handle Patrick Mahomes and that team one way or another. And once again, the Chiefs start off with a victory at home, so that's going to push the Wolves back. So the touchdown is off the board as we're winding down, under 1 minute left in this first frame. Good tackling defensive effort by Mountain Ridge. So we talk about Iguano when he came aboard. And TJ, what did Iguano implement, just start here, that all of a sudden things just registered and the light bulbs went on and this team just took off?
He just was a man of like strict principles. We had no choice but to follow him because he's just a man that when he walks in a room, he demands like attention, and we all looked at him as the leader, and we just went behind him, and he led us to multiple state championships and when he was here, and I'm very grateful to have him being my head coach because I learned a lot from him and how to be a man outside of football also. I think that was a big thing that Coach Iguano preached, like being good men outside of football, because if you're not the same person everywhere you go, then you're not a real man.
Yeah. So he implemented all the right things to inspire the young men for greatness and then some. Before we let you go, because look, on this campus, there's always the next great athlete.
Right.
So I know right now you got your share down playing freshman ball.
Yeah.
They're waiting their turn. They're
Right.
freshmen. They're learning how to, like, chew gum and brush their teeth at the same time, learning how to comb their hair accordingly, how to, like, operate, their cell phones and get to class on time.
Right.
But along from doing the most basic stuff from A to Z, give us some names that we're going to look out for. Because, Chandler High Nation, they always want to know who's coming up.
Right.
Give us some names that when they step on the varsity, they're going to be impact players and just resonate and dominate.
Okay, so we have a couple kids down there that'll be able to make some noise Friday nights here pretty soon. We got a pretty good receiver. His name is Makai. Makai's gonna be a guy. He showed some flashes in practice. He had a good game yesterday. I think he had 4 touchdowns, over 100 yards, 4 touchdowns. He had a pretty good game. He'll be a good guy. Chase, running back for us. He's a guy too. We got a couple. We got a lot of dudes down there at the freshman level that can go. I think Caden, our quarterback, he's a guy. He's gonna be a good guy for us. Also, who else would be out there? DJ. He's gonna be a good guy for us. Oh, that's a good run.
That's a run down the sidelines, but looks like that's gonna come back. That was a great individual effort gliding into the end zone, and that was just a power run by Kyrie Johnson, the senior running back, who broke outside and just showed his electric speed. And, man, he was just a dart down the field, but the penalty is going to pull that one back. So a lot of young kids coming up in that freshman world.
Somebody didn't get to mention, but they'll be up there making plays. You'll hear.
Yeah, and soon enough they're going to be like, Coach, man, how come you didn't remember me, man?
Right.
And then, you know what? And all you just did was motivate them.
Yeah.
So you'll talk about them.
Exactly.
So glad to have the legend, TJ Green, join us in the broadcast booth. And TJ, look, you're welcome up here anytime you want. You want to drop knowledge? You want to talk about football? You want to talk about life? You want to drop inspiration?
We can do that.
Anytime you want.
Okay, sounds good.
That is TJ Green.
I'll be back.
The world-class running back who made his mark, a couple state titles in his time here, rushed for over 2,200 yards his senior season. Oh, by the way, not 30 touchdowns, 35 rushing touchdowns. And once again, TJ, we're disappointed you didn't get 40.
Yeah, I am too.
And barreling close to the end zone once again.
I appreciate you guys,
Thanks,
man.
TJ. Appreciate you. Another great run and takes that ball inside the 5-yard line. And once again, you're seeing the speed factor by Kyrie Johnson working it inside the 5. And we do have a running clock, and Chandler High gets into the end zone. And nope, that ball is ruled inside the 5. Okay, so we've got our facts straight, and now another penalty comes out. So obviously there's some things to clean up. Some things to take care of for the Chandler offense. But you know what? Here's the thing. You have to look at this with a grain of salt. They're up big, and you've got different kind of personnel coming in and out. So a lot of other young men are getting their opportunities. So when you have that, there's going to be all kinds of different flows in the course of the game. But once again, you're seeing the depth and skill. Menzel leading this offense. Menzel, handoff. Powering inside the 5, Anthony Lejander. Lejander trying to get his sweet taste of the end zone as well. And so good to hear from TJ Green. And look, all you great alumni out there, you're more than welcome to join me in the broadcast booth. I want to hear from the legends. If you're here locally, you hop in and say, Joey P., I'm joining you up top because we want to hear about you. We'll dial up the numbers. We'll talk football. We'll talk Wolves legendary moments. 2nd and 4 from the 4. Menzel taking his sweet time. Running clock. He's got all day. He's got a lot to ponder. up 53 and looking for more. Menzel inside. Legender getting in for the touchdown. Anthony Legender from 4 yards out. And Chandler with the 6-pack on the scoreboard. Now 62-3. And coming in to do his work, Christian Aguilar. And Aguilar has had a perfect night, and now he tries to make it perfect on the 9th touchdown by the offense. Aguilar up, and this one is good. So Christian Aguilar, if you started him in high school fantasy football, well, you've done well. He's gotten you every extra point possible. So excellent work by Aguilar, the offensive line. Legender powers it in, and can't say enough about Kari Johnson. Some good quality runs in that drive as well. So Chandler High just continues to show their dominance in this one, 63-3, after leading so big at the half, 49-3. And for Coach Rick Garrison and OC Chad Carpenter and defensive coordinator Ryan DeRocher and assistant head coach Eric Richardson, this is one of those you savor. You just think about where you were in week 1 and how much your team has looked better in week 2. Look, there's still things that have to be cleaned up. The penalties are inexcusable, and no question for Coach Garrison and his staff, that'll be a point of emphasis moving forward, but they have been so dominant in so many different areas tonight. Passing game looks sharp. This little pooch kick, the up man will take it at the 30 and work his way out to close to the 40-yard line. Running clock, and Chandler High has done everything they've needed to. Now, coming up, 3 straight road games starting at Westwood next Friday, then down the road at Corona del Sol, taking on the Aztecs. Beautiful thing about that, Paulo Hutchison, 2 blocks from my house. So I can Uber it or ride a bike over there. Or I've got a scooter at the house. I can easily take that as well. Paulo's got a golf cart that he's found in the wilderness somewhere in the desert that he's now adopted. Twice, not once but twice. And then mark your calendars, September 27th at Highland. Paulo, that game's on Cox 7, am I correct? The home matchup against Liberty on October 4th is on Cox 7. The team heads to Castile on October 18th. Big home matchup against Basha on the 25th, followed by a November 1st matchup against Perry, and then the annual battle for Arizona Avenue. Do I even have to say the team? I don't think I do. Good run into the secondary. A positive moment for Mountain Ridge offensively, and for Mountain Ridge, they'll have to regroup and find their way. A team led by the leadership of new coach Andy Johnson. A team that went 3-7 last year, but really played a gauntlet of a schedule. Lost 7 games, 3 to open teams eventually, 4 other playoff teams in 6A. So by no means, you look at their 3-7 record, they just were in for such a tough season, and they had to grind through, and that's something special in the backfield by Craig Noble, junior defensive lineman, putting some good work on tape because the eye in the sky never lies. So Mountain Ridge will regroup. They're going to look at the tape, and all they can do is just kind of flush this one aside and Lucas Ballman with a good pass over the middle, and, his receiving core didn't help him out early. He threw some really good passes as that one glides through the fingers of Logan Johnson. When you're on the road, you're playing a team like Chandler, or you're going to play the Liberties or the Highlands or the Centennials or the Bashas or any of those powerhouse teams. You got to make plays early, and you've got to come out with a vengeance to impose your will. That didn't happen. Mountain Ridge fell behind early. They gave up a couple quick, and that one was almost picked off the near tip. It was tipped, and Demir Regan, the junior, almost, if he catches it, that's a pick six. He's going to go the other way. But the Mountain Lions will have to find themselves in a going back to tape and basically flush this one out. And next week it doesn't get any easier as they take on Williamsfield. And Williamsfield, as we look at some of the top 10 teams, according to Max Preps, we'll look at the top 10 preseason. Liberty opened with a 22-0 win over Desert Edge. Friday, which is tomorrow, they'll host O'Connor. Centennial opened with a 17-10 loss at Hamilton. Friday, they're at Highland. And after another big defensive sack, Noble yet again. Centennial is at Highland, and Richard Taylor, that's a turning point game. They fall 0-2. The chances of making the open are slim to none. Brophy opened with a 35-28 win at Williamsfield. Devin Fitzgerald, the son of Arizona Cardinals legend Larry Fitzgerald, caught 3 touchdowns in that one. Friday they face Regis Jesuit out of Aurora, Colorado. Hamilton, of course. Tonight they're hosting Desert Ridge. Basha open with a 39-25 win over Millard South out of Nebraska. Friday they'll host Mesa. Saguaro hammered by LA Queen Creek 38-10 Friday at Mountain View. Higley rolled at Campo Verde 42-0. Friday they travel to California to face San Juan Hills. Highland open with a 35-0 win over Shadow Ridge. And of course, they are taking on Centennial on Friday. LA Queen Creek pounded Saguaro 38-10. Friday they host Boulder Creek, who made the 6A playoffs. So a lot of tremendous games and all the big teams with some big matchups. That Centennial Highland game, really one to watch. Richard Taylor's team have to go on the road and face a Highland team that is really become a force and doing great things in the East Valley. Another good quality run, and I just love the wiggle and I love the speed by Kerry Johnson, senior running back, 5'9", $175. He's got some jets. So you're seeing players like Johnson who are just waiting for chances to show what they can put on tape. And the young man is living large in his final seconds of this one. A 63-3 Chandler advantage. And we were so joined, well, I should say we were so lucky to be joined by TJ Green, who is so well-spoken. I was fortunate enough to cover TJ in my time in local news here, and those Chandler teams were just dominant. That finals against Mountain Point was a war in which they came out on top. Lost in the regular season 52-7, and then beat Norris Vaughn, one of the legendary coaches, and that team, which had a lot of great players, and beat them in the finals. And that was one of the dominant teams in the last 10-15 years. Another explosive run by Johnson gets into the secondary as we wind down to under 3 minutes left. So for Coach Garrison and his team, a lot to be happy of, a lot to be proud of, and a lot to dissect and make this team better. Helsana set the tone. Couple nice rushing touchdowns, 45 yards, 16 yards. Menzel, touchdown run. Scooby Bradley with the interception return. Menzel, the long touchdown pass to Ochoa. Carmigiano, the touchdown rip to Skylar Ormita. It was all beautiful, all good. The offensive line played spectacular. You can't ask anything more from that veteran group. And they don't get enough props, and that's why I continue to roll out their names, because these are young men that just put on the helmets and they just light up opposing defenders on that D-line. Logan Ray, Noah Swope, Isaiah Garcia, Quentin Real, Blake Spear, Michael Cook, plus all the other young guns that are getting their opportunities on the line as well. And still on his feet, barreling inside the 5 as time is winding down. And we'll look at some of those young men that are getting their chance on that O-line right now, like Matthias Harris, junior, 6'0", 270 pounds. How about as I try to match jerseys with numbers. But needless to say, this second group is in and they're doing things, and Will Menzel will take a knee, and that's going to do it. And for Chandler High, the School of Champions, the home of the Wolves, established 1914. Talk about a dominating performance. It started with Halsana, 43-yard run. He came right back. Second possession, a 16-yard run. Halsana, a 4-yard rushing touchdown. Scooby Bradley, a 23-yard pick six. Menzel, 47-yard touchdown pass to Ochoa. Menzel, short touchdown run, and Carmigiano, 18-yard scoring rip to Ormita, made it 48-3. They go on to win, dominating 63-3. Defensive performances, Aiden Browder was everywhere. Scooby Bradley, great first half. The D-line, just on point. The big fellows, Jamie Keyreese, Jude Jones, Xavier Sr., Jalen Robertson, just phenomenal. Yona Koopa, the secondary, outstanding. Malik Johnson was everywhere. Can't say enough. Scooby Bradley played phenomenal. Of course, Missy Juma, outstanding as well. So this Chandler High team brought the goods. Thursday night football, and they did not disappoint on Arizona Avenue. 63-3 the final. And as we mentioned, they'll go back to work, and it starts 3 on the road. And starts next week when they head to Westwood for a 7 p.m. kickoff. Then it's traveling to Corona the following week. Highland on the 27th. They're back home hosting Liberty October 4th, and they travel to Castile October 18th. So our next telecast, as all the other games are going to be swiped away by broadcast networks, will be October 25th against Basha. There is a chance we're going to talk to the good people at Corona del Sol about streaming that game, so you might see us live from Aztecs country as the Wolves try to go to town there. But in the meantime, all is good from Arizona Avenue. For Jim Culver, the great athletic director on campus, to Rick Garrison, the fine coach, his great coaching staff, all the great players, and all the great alumni and fans and cheerleaders and pom-pom teams, and the band and all the good people that bleed the blue of Chandler High. For Paulo Hutchison on the live stream, I'm Joe Pequeno. Good night. from Arizona Avenue. The Wolves howled and proud, winning 63-3.